Yum, yum. Burgers and butter. What am I going to talk about today? Stay tuned. Right after this. Check it out. It's a cold steel. I got this for, well, probably a third off, if not half. There's a video coming out about this that's not related to carnivore, although you could cut a pretty hefty piece of meat with this thing, right? Anyways, enough about this, right? This is dumb. This is dumb, right? Okay, so here's the deal. The object of these videos, these updates, is to bring awareness to the American food supply is poisoned. It's pretty much. And I'm cooking burgers, so forgive me if I get distracted here. And what I have found is that, mental illness is through the roof, drug addiction is through the roof, fentanyl is our real pandemic and crisis. Mental illness is a real pandemic and crisis. And that hasn't stopped. The whole COVID thing slowed down, but the depression, mental health has definitely gone down. And I wholeheartedly, 100%, in my head, I'm not a doctor, so you can take this with a grain of salt, which I forgot to salt my burgers. I wholeheartedly believe that part of the mental issues, if not almost all of the mental issues, is coming from our food. I used to be an emotional eater. And once I got my health scare, by realizing that sugar feeds cancer, and I had my dream about my dad, which I've talked about before. Flipping these burgers now. A lot of the I was having trouble focusing. I had this brain fog. I had a bad memory. I had depression. I had a lack of motivation. I had, it was more about the dopamine hits that Netflix and Facebook could give you. And you have all these influencers telling you how to better your life and how to do this and how to do that. It makes you feel like crap. It's called toxic positivity. It makes you feel like crap because you feel like, well, I'm not doing any of that, so I must be a loser. And that's part of the problem. People look at people like, well, I can't ever be like that, so I might as well not even try. And then you eat the donut and you feel better for a minute. Dopamine kicks you in the face, and next thing you know, you're diabetic and you're 400 pounds and you lose your CDL if you're a truck driver, or you end up in the hospital, or you end up in the ER and you can't go home. Now you're bankrupt because you had $60,000 in medical bills because you had a stroke or a heart attack. Big Pharma still wins. The big food companies still win because they're going to sell the food that the hospital gives you while you're in the hospital, right? But here's the thing. I 100% believe that the majority of mental illness, the majority of depression, the majority of attention issues comes from our food. It comes from what we were fed as a baby, with the soy and corn based baby formula, to even the Flintstone vitamins. They got a bunch of crap in it that you shouldn't eat, like the dyes. And and I've spent the last few videos telling you about the additives and what they do to the mental brain, like yellow and red dye. They make kids' food very, very colorful, right? And we wonder why our kids have ADHD and they're spastic, and you can't ground them, and they're addicted to looking at the phones and the iPads and all that, and they have no coping skills whatsoever. I know that when I was carb addicted, I didn't have any coping skills. My coping skill was Popeye's chicken. My coping skill was Mountain Dew. My coping skills were involved in food, and well, that affected my health. And I honestly believe that once someone can change their diet, the mental stuff gets better, right? Like I've never heard a story where someone's mental issues did not get better when they cleaned up their diet. I've never heard, well, I got brain fog because all I've been eating is hamburger and broccoli, and my memory sucks now. There's probably a bigger issue if that happens, right? And it's baby steps, little steps. I have a friend of mine that lost 100 pounds, and all he did for the first 20 was go from so many sodas a day down to one. And then it was one a week. And then he stopped drinking soda. And, just little changes like that, little baby steps, he was able to lose 100 pounds within a year. So it is possible. And this goes out to the people that might be struggling with some depression. And, and yes, there's outside forces such as family affairs, or a death in the family, or a death of a business, or a big job change, a big stress, And I think that as we clean up our diets, we're able to handle those things a lot better. I mean, they're still there, but it's tougher to do when your mind is clouded with crap. So, anyways, we're on day 16, I think. Day 16, yeah. And we're holding steady at 282, I think. I did do some Swiss cheese, and that was probably a mistake. But yesterday's diet was kind of all over the place. Someone made me some hot dogs, so I ate them, and they had, they probably got some bad stuff in them. And I could feel it, that's the thing. But we're back on, we're back to eating clean. I've had nothing but beef today. I had some steaks earlier, and then, just cheap steaks that I cut off a roast. And then I'm finishing up these burgers, and that's all I'll eat today. Plus 4 eggs. I think that's what I've eaten. I'm getting to the point where I'm eating less and less. I got to be careful. Like, I still got to get my protein up and everything. But anyways, my phone's about to die. So if you're struggling, I don't care what you're struggling with. Doesn't matter. That's probably a better. It's probably a better word. Whatever you're struggling is, you're not alone, and we as a community are here to help. My email is snowalert@yahoo.com. And maybe we can talk about it. So, anyways, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you from my experience that cleaning up my diet helped my depression. I was known as Eeyore back in the day, and that was my nickname on truckersreport.com. That was my handle, and that's what people called me because that's how I acted, and I'm better now. I'm not an angry death metal guy anymore. I'm a happy death metal guy. So, Strength for Today over tomorrow. Make sure you like and subscribe. And don't forget, check out my knife video. Probably going live tomorrow morning. Peace.